The American dream of home ownership is at a crossroads. For millions of buyers, it's not a question of when to buy, but where. In today's unpredictable market, some cities are ticking time bombs of overvaluation, rising costs, and vanishing demand. Forget the glossy headlines and real estate agent promises. The numbers tell a darker story. Buying a home in the wrong city in 2025 isn't just a bad investment. It's a financial disaster waiting to happen. Today, we're counting down the 10 worst cities to buy a house in America in 2025. These are the markets showing the clearest signs of a coming collapse, and the places you should avoid at all costs.
Number 10. New Orleans, Louisiana. On the surface, New Orleans is a city of culture, music, and a vibrant history that refuses to be ignored. But beneath that celebratory exterior, its housing market is facing a slow-motion unraveling. Unlike the sudden speculative busts we're seeing in other cities, New Orleans is a market of 1,000 small cuts, primarily driven by climate risk and crippling costs. According to recent Reventure app data, the median sale price in the New Orleans metro has seen a decline of 2.3% year over year, dropping from a peak of $291,400 to $253,100, a decline of over $38,000 in just 3 years. While a 24% rate of price cuts shows sellers are adjusting, the fundamental problem is far deeper. The cost of a standard homeowner's insurance policy here has become a brutal gatekeeper, often topping $6,000 to $10,000 per year in certain parishes and averaging around $4,983 annually in the city for standard coverage. This isn't just a burden. For many families, it's a non-starter. In fact, a Wallet Hub analysis ranked New Orleans in the bottom 8% of all U.S. cities for first-time homebuyers, citing a lack of affordability and poor quality of life metrics. The risk here isn't a quick market correction. It's a long-term decline in desirability and financial viability, making New Orleans one of the riskiest places for a buyer to plant roots in 2025.
Number 9. Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City, once an affordable escape for those fleeing coastal prices, is now facing a reckoning with its own meteoric rise. During the pandemic, the city's housing market exploded, but in 2025, that growth has plunged into a painful retreat. According to data from Redfin, Salt Lake City home prices were down 6.7% compared to last year, selling for a median price of $588,000. On top of that, homes are now sitting on the market for an average of 35 days, a 3-day increase year over year. The real issue is oversupply. Reventure app indicates a whopping 53.4% increase in months of inventory in Salt Lake City compared to last year. The market is now a buyer's market without the buyers, as high prices and elevated mortgage rates make homes unaffordable. The average home value-to-income ratio in Salt Lake City is now a staggering 5.1, meaning the typical home costs over 5 times the annual median income. We are seeing a silent bleed-out, with sellers in once hot suburbs being forced to make steep price cuts of $40,000 or more. New construction, which exploded across the valley, is now being delivered into a market with rapidly vanishing demand, creating a glut of unsold properties. The city's tech and aerospace industries, while strong, are not immune to a broader economic slowdown, and any downturn could expose the market's fragile underbelly, making it a high-stakes gamble for anyone looking to buy at today's still inflated prices.
Number 8. Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, a city once synonymous with endless growth, southern charm, and economic opportunity, is now showing some of the most worrying signs of a market in deep distress. For years, a flood of new residents, drawn by its sprawling suburbs and a favorable business climate, made its housing market seemingly bulletproof. But in 2025, that narrative has shattered. While the Atlanta Realtors Association reports a modest increase in sales volume, a deeper look at the data reveals a market that is fundamentally cracking under the weight of oversupply. According to Redfin's latest data, the median sales price in the Atlanta metro has fallen by 2.2% year over year. But the real story is in the inventory. Atlanta's housing inventory in June 2025 was a staggering 20,582 units, a whopping 36.8% increase from the previous year. This flood of new listings has shifted the market into a precarious state, giving buyers more options than they've had in years and putting enormous pressure on sellers. In some of the city's key neighborhoods, like Midtown, data from Zillow reveals home values are down 5.6% over the past year, with a staggering 73.9% of sales closing below list price, and homes sitting on the market for an average of 76 days. This isn't just a slowdown, it's a sign of a market where demand has simply vanished. The relentless new construction that was meant to alleviate the housing shortage has instead created a dangerous glut, leaving builders desperate and existing homeowners trapped, forced to compete in a rapidly cooling environment. Atlanta's economic engine is still running, but its housing market is a high-stakes gamble that is showing the clearest signs of an oversupply-fueled decline.
Number 7. Houston, Texas. Houston's housing market, once a model of affordability and steady growth, is now buckling under the weight of oversupply. With its sprawling suburbs and a constant stream of new construction, Houston's real estate market is fundamentally different from a compact city like D.C. In 2025, that scale is turning into a major liability. According to the Houston Association of Realtors, active listings were up a whopping 31.8% year-over-year in June, reaching an all-time record high. While the median price remains statistically unchanged, this is a dangerous sign. It's masking the fact that a massive surge in luxury home sales is propping up the average price, while the lower and mid-price tiers are struggling. The affordability crisis is also a major factor. A 2025 State of Housing report found that affordability gaps have deepened as increases in land and home prices outpaced wage gains. This, combined with rising property taxes and climate-induced insurance costs that can add over $15,000 to home costs, is stretching many Houstonians' budgets thin. Recent data from NerdWallet even shows that Houston has the highest average homeowners insurance rate among all major U.S. cities at a staggering $6,370 per year. Builders who kept building long after demand started to wane are now delivering a glut of homes and no one to buy them. The median days on market has also started to creep up, now averaging nearly 50 days, a clear sign that the frenzy is over. The Houston condo and townhome market is even worse, with inventory ballooning to an 8-month supply, the highest since 2011. Houston, once a bargain in Texas, is transforming into one of the sharpest warning signs of a broader housing collapse.
Number 6. Baltimore, Maryland. While other cities are grappling with falling prices after a boom, Baltimore's housing market has a different problem. It never really had a boom at all. In 2025, the market is suffering from a toxic combination of high crime rates, slow job growth, and a legacy of economic challenges. Property values here have remained largely stagnant, making it one of the worst places to see a return on investment. According to Zillow, the average Baltimore home value is up by a mere 0.6% over the past year, a figure that is effectively zero once you account for inflation. This flatline growth stands in stark contrast to the double-digit appreciation seen in other markets, highlighting a deep underlying sickness in Baltimore's real estate fundamentals. The market is also plagued by a high number of vacant properties and foreclosures. According to a recent Maryland Department of Housing report, the state recorded a 9.2% increase in foreclosure events in Q1 2025, with Baltimore City and County accounting for a significant portion of the total activity. This is a chilling sign of a market in deep distress, where the affordability crisis is now leading to widespread financial hardship. The city's high property taxes, combined with slow job growth and a lack of new investment, are creating a perfect storm. The market is not just slow, it's sick. And for an investor or a family looking for a home that will appreciate, Baltimore is a dangerous place to buy. It's a city where homes that are supposed to be appreciating assets are instead becoming a financial liability, trapping homeowners in a cycle of stagnation.
Number 5. Portland, Oregon. Portland's once thriving real estate market has hit a brick wall. Long considered a beacon for a certain type of urban creative, the city's housing market is now a shell of its former self. Inventory levels have surged with a flood of unsold homes and a significant rise in days on market. According to Redfin, the median sales price in Portland was $545,000 in July 2025, but this figure is misleading. A deeper dive into the data reveals the median price per square foot is actually down 1.6% year over year. The real story is the loss of momentum and buyer urgency. Homes are now sitting on the market for an average of 58 days, a significant jump that shows buyers are exercising extreme caution. This rise in inventory has shifted the market into a precarious state. According to Realtor.com, 31.3% of all listings in Portland had a price cut, a higher rate than even Austin, a major bellwether for the crash. The affordability crisis here is brutal. A standard mortgage on a median-priced home is a crushing burden, and with high property taxes and rising costs of living, many locals are now being priced out. The city's reputation has also been a factor, as rising crime rates and homelessness issues have contributed to a population bleed, with many residents relocating to more affordable and stable cities. Builders, once untouchable, are now in damage control mode, offering tens of thousands in incentives, but buyer sentiment simply isn't there. With tech no longer guaranteeing stability and locals unable to support the inflated prices, Portland's housing market is exposed for how fragile it truly is. It's a city where a once hot market has simply run out of steam, and the fall is just beginning.
Number 4. San Francisco, California. San Francisco, the crown jewel of the Bay Area, is collapsing under the weight of its own excess. Inventory levels are 54% higher than before the pandemic, leaving sellers trapped in a brutal game of undercutting. While the median home price is up slightly by 1.8% year over year to $1.425 million as of July 2025, this figure is a mirage. A closer look reveals a market bleeding out from 1,000 cuts. According to Redfin, the percentage of homes with price drops is a significant 15.7%, a sign that sellers are losing their pricing power. The median days on market has jumped to 28 days, a 3-day increase in a single year, highlighting a loss of buyer urgency. Luxury condos, once a hot commodity, now sit unsold for months, and even once prized Victorians linger with no offers. Affordability is worse than ever. A standard mortgage on a $1.4 million home now exceeds $7,500 per month, excluding taxes and insurance. Despite Silicon Valley wages, even high earners are balking at these costs, especially with tech layoffs at giants like Meta and Google erasing thousands of jobs. Builders are frozen, offering unheard-of concessions, $50,000 plus in credits and mortgage rate buys, but demand simply isn't there. The city's population has shrunk, with many fleeing to cheaper states. Mortgage delinquencies, though lower than in Middle America, are climbing. The average San Francisco mortgage balance is now $720,000, a staggering number that leaves little room for error. What's most shocking is buyer sentiment. Once the hottest real estate market in America, San Francisco now feels like a cautionary tale, with homes that sparked bidding wars in 2021 now sitting stale, a clear sign that the market has run out of steam and is heading for a painful reckoning.
Number 3, Cape Coral, Florida. And the number 3 worst city to buy a house in 2025 is Cape Coral, Florida. A city that was at the epicenter of the 2008 crash is once again a leading indicator of trouble. The sprawling community, known for its extensive canal system, saw a massive boom in the post-pandemic years, but in 2025, that polished facade is starting to crack. The median home price is now down over 9% year over year to $375,000, a significant drop according to Zillow, which reports an even steeper 9.6% decline. The number of homes sold has dropped, and properties are sitting on the market for an average of 60 days, up from just 21 during the peak. This dramatic shift is a clear sign of slowing demand. Even more alarming, new construction that once drove the local economy is now facing a dangerous oversupply. According to a recent Wall Street Journal report, Cape Coral has the most homeowners who are underwater on their mortgages in the entire country, with nearly 8% owing more than their homes are worth. The true killer here is insurance. With hurricane risks pushing premiums to unbearable levels, many buyers are unable to even qualify for insurance, effectively freezing them out of the market. Reventure app reports that the number of homes for sale in Cape Coral has skyrocketed to over 14,500, the highest level in over a decade. This inventory glut is forcing builders and sellers to offer deep discounts and concessions, creating a race to the bottom. Cape Coral is learning a painful truth. No market, no matter how hot, is safe from the relentless forces of a housing crash. What was once sold as paradise is now the storm center of America's housing collapse.
Number 2. Chicago, Illinois. While the coastal cities were busy with their booms and busts, Chicago's housing market has been quietly unraveling for a different reason. As of 2025, the city is leading the nation in a metric that spells out disaster: foreclosures. According to ATTOM Data Solutions, Chicago leads the nation in the number of foreclosure starts, with thousands of families entering the foreclosure pipeline in a single quarter. In the first 3 months of 2025, Chicago, Naperville, Elgin recorded 3,789 foreclosure starts, a number that, while still far below 2008 levels, is a chilling sign of a market in deep distress. It is a slow bleed, not a catastrophic event, but the trend line is unmistakable. The city's high property taxes, combined with a slow job growth and a high number of vacant properties, are creating a perfect storm. While Zillow reports a modest 1.4% average home value increase over the past year, this stability is an illusion. The city's foreclosure rate is now 1 in every 877 homes, making Illinois second only to South Carolina for the highest state foreclosure rate. The market is also experiencing a worrying trend of bank repossessions, with Chicago recording one of the highest numbers of completed foreclosures in the nation. This distress is most acutely felt in the middle and lower income segments of the market, as first-time buyers and veterans on FHA and VA loans are seeing some of the highest delinquency growth. For buyers, the prospect of a high-tax, high-foreclosure environment makes Chicago a risky bet. In fact, Illinois families will pay the second highest property tax rate in the nation in 2025, spending more than double the national average. A new report by WalletHub shows that the average Illinois family will spend $6,285 in property taxes this year for a home at the national median value, a crushing financial burden that is driving away residents and businesses. This toxic combination of rising foreclosures and crippling taxes is creating a feedback loop of decline. Every foreclosure adds distressed inventory to the market, pulling down the value of surrounding homes and making it even harder for sellers to find a buyer. This is not just a problem for homeowners, it also impacts renters, as landlords pass on property tax costs through higher rents. The city is a ticking time bomb of a crisis that is less about a speculative boom and more about a fundamental lack of affordability and a struggling local economy. The market is not just slow, it's sick, and it's flashing a red alert for the rest of the country.
Number 1. Riverside, California. And the number 1 worst city to buy a house in America in 2025 is Riverside, California. The very heart of the Inland Empire, a region once seen as a refuge for families priced out of coastal cities, is now facing a full-blown financial reckoning. Its housing market has been buckling under the weight of an epic oversupply. According to First Tuesday Journal, inventory here is a staggering 88% higher than a year ago, with nearly 27,130 homes for sale in Riverside County as of July 2025. The median home price, which peaked at an all-time high of $659,333 in June 2025, has now started to fall, with sellers being forced to slash prices by tens of thousands of dollars to compete. The percentage of listings with a price reduction jumped to 25.3% in 2025, its highest level since 2018, according to Reventure News. But the real reason Riverside tops our list is the debt. The average mortgage balance here is now a crushing burden for many, and with a significant portion of its population having high debt and low savings, a widespread default crisis is a very real possibility. Reventure News found that year-over-year home value growth in the Riverside-San Bernardino metro has plunged to just 1.1%, its slowest pace since the 2008 crash. The market's migration momentum has also flatlined, meaning the influx of new residents that once propped up prices has disappeared. According to ATTM Data Solutions, Riverside has one of the highest foreclosure rates in the nation, with 1 in every 1,786 housing units in foreclosure in January 2025. This makes the market a prime example of what happens when a housing bubble bursts and there's no one left to pick up the pieces. The average time it takes to foreclose in California is still a lengthy process, which means the foreclosures we are seeing now are just the beginning of a massive wave. The very forces that built Riverside's housing boom, cheap credit and a mass migration of people seeking affordability, are now working in reverse, making it the most dangerous and unsustainable housing market in the nation for 2025.
Final message. So what is the final verdict on the American housing market in 2025? Is this a full-blown crash or simply a long overdue correction? As we've seen throughout this video, the answer is not simple. The national numbers may still look stable, but that is a mirage created by the strongest, most resilient markets, masking the brutal realities in the most vulnerable. What's happening in cities like Riverside, Chicago, and Cape Coral isn't a theory, it's a cold, hard fact. These are not isolated incidents, they are a high-stakes warning to the rest of the nation. The pain is real, and it's spreading. This isn't a repeat of 2008. The causes are different, and the pain is unevenly distributed. We don't have the same level of predatory lending, but we have new villains, unsustainable debt, crippling insurance costs, and a massive oversupply of homes. The very forces that built the pandemic housing boom, migration, speculation, and low interest rates, are now working in reverse, turning what was once opportunity into a financial trap. For the homeowners in these cities, the distinction between a correction and a crash is meaningless. They are watching their equity evaporate, struggling with crushing payments, and hoping they can sell before the market falls even further. For a new generation of buyers, the dream of homeownership is more distant than ever, creating an entire class of long-term renters. The question isn't whether the market is changing, it's whether it can adapt before the rot spreads to the rest of the nation. The American dream of homeownership is at a crossroads. The party is over, and the lights are finally on. The final chapter of this story is yet to be written, but the warning signs are too loud to ignore.